Product leaders want the product managers that they lead to be motivated, empowered, and of course accountable for the work that they lead. But all too often, product managers find they are significantly blocked by the stakeholders and the different departments that they work with. Not all, but sometimes some, or unfortunately the majority in some cases. Everybody seems to say no, there's conflict. Different people have different ways of expressing themselves, but ultimately people aren't driving towards the same thing that the product manager and their team needs to deliver. Why is that? Well, here's 4 common things that I've observed. Firstly, there's a lack of vision at a strategic level and common goals. The departments are working to, as a result, their own priorities. There isn't one unified goal that unites everybody together. Also, the penultimate point there in terms of roles and responsibilities for me is critical. If people aren't clear on their roles, their department's roles, and how they can actually contribute in a collaborative way towards the common vision and goals, all of this is interrelated. And then finally, we mix that with product-led versus product discipline. What does that mean? Well, actually, the whole idea about growing and developing a product organization, a product-led approach, isn't actually about just the product discipline and departments having their own priorities. Actually, product is really, in the modern sense, about customer centricity, about departments all working together with common goals in terms of quality and satisfaction, and ultimately, yes, revenue and to some degree efficiency, but mainly collaborating around that one key goal to drive value. Well, don't lose heart, PMs and product leaders, because there is an absolutely important role in product managers being able to move this situation forward in any organisation. And there's 3 things I've quoted here that are important there. They are facilitators of a process that moves more towards some of the areas I've talked about, less about departments arguing with each other and more about working together towards this customer value piece. And the product manager there can lead from the ground to do that with the amazing doers and makers and hopefully multidisciplinary teams that they lead, or multiple teams in some cases. And finally, they have an extremely important role in supporting the leadership team, colleagues who work alongside them, the heads of department and the VPs, to name a couple of job titles. But whatever they are, there is the opportunity to do, I've just listed here, 5 different things, just to give you a flavour of some of the things I've found to work well. Firstly, pick a small piece of work in terms of trying to change this culture and approach. So start small, something that's relatively low risk that people can start to see demonstrates some of these examples of making things better in this area. Secondly, get the perspective of other stakeholders and departments. Many times there is just a lack of perspective on what's important to a department. These can sometimes, with a little bit of work around common goals and priorities, be aligned with relative ease. Thirdly, there's a piece around education. Well, what is product-led? This isn't product as a department trying to have its own way. This is actually about something more than that, the customer centricity and the whole wider approach that I mentioned a moment ago. The penultimate point here, again, I'll constantly talk about, is having unified goals, whether you actually want to evangelize a framework like OKRs, whatever it is. There's an opportunity there to start using in the product department, if you're a product leader, some kind of framework or some kind of process, and pretty soon that becomes infectious. Your marketing colleagues will be asking how they can actually start to get in on this, for example, and look at the framework, and then it starts to join up and drive that collaborative unified goal piece. The final point there is around joint planning. Try and get some time in with the C-suite, the CEO, or other colleagues to really fly the flag for joint planning. Planning together collaboratively and using these in combination with some of the goal frameworks, I've found to be one of the most powerful ways to actually end up with motivated, empowered, and ultimately satisfied and happy PMs in teams. If you'd like any more details, do drop me a line or comment beneath in this video. This is Paul Featherstone for Digital Product. Thanks for watching.